For what purpose does the gentlelady from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I ask to strike the last word.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Just a few final random thoughts. I am glad that we're here, that we have the courage to make sure that we bring this bill to the floor, that we get through this markup, as despicable as much of it has been. I just want to remember what the Second Amendment says, because it's been awfully idolized in a strange set of ways from our colleagues on the other side of the aisle. The Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed." Do you think the founding fathers were picturing AR-style weapons, Glocks? Not to mention the fact that this has to do with a well-regulated militia. These were the founding days of our country, a very different time. I think they'd be ashamed of the arguments they heard today. Some of the words that offended me, and I wonder how parents in this room who have struggled and suffered from gun violence felt each time folks on the other side of the aisle said, "Oh, the Democrats, it's just a knee-jerk reaction." 23 years after Columbine, knee-jerk? Oh, rush to this markup. 23 years after Columbine, hundreds of thousands of students terrorized, terrified, thousands wounded or killed. I wonder how this sounds to a parent who's lost a child. Mrs. Song, I honor that you are here today, and your son Ethan has been here the entire time, witness to this. And I hope, and I know how proud he is of you and your colleague and the work that you are doing to bring the truth to the American people. The other thing that strikes me about this conversation is how glib the folks on the other side of the aisle are about the Constitution, Second Amendment, Fifth Amendment, due process. Do you notice what's missing from their conversation for these many hours? Is any recognition of the slaughter in this country and our responsibility to do something about it. Why were you elected to office? Why did you seek this position? If it wasn't to save lives, to lift up those less fortunate, to shield our children from the terrorizing of those crazy posters. Must be fun to walk into schools that have those warnings up. Think of the children in Uvalde who walked out of that classroom. Think of what they saw and will never be able to erase from their minds. I invite my colleagues to visit the work of 97%, an organization that collects data from gun owners, bipartisan folks who own guns, don't own guns, Democrats, independents, Republicans. As I said earlier today, you are out of touch. You're out of touch with the American people. The American people are offended at our failure to act. And I bet they are offended by your absence of showing any compassion for the loss of life. It makes me wonder, do you have children? Do you have grandchildren? Do you worry for them that the next phone call might be something that happened to one of them? We are at a crossroads. We've been here before, but we're at a crossroads yet again. And kind of like Robert Frost, I hope we finally take the one less traveled by and act. Act to save lives from this public health crisis of our own making. I ask the Senate, unlike my colleague who tried to threaten the Senate, I ask the Senate, please stop sitting on your hands. Please stop hiding behind the filibuster. Please have the courage to save lives. And I end by saying thank you, Mr. Chairman. When we started in the majority 4 years ago, what was the first hearing you had? Gun violence. after 2 decades of nobody wanting to have a hearing on it. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to get this done, with or without our Republican colleagues' help. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. For what purpose does Ms. Escobar seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman,